bring your one? Is it set? Oh. Good evening. The date is August 18th, 2025, and the time is 7 o'clock. I hereby call the meeting of the City Council of the City of Groveland to order. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilwoman Amy Jo Carroll, and following that, we will have the invocation by Lexi Aruz. She's of the Hope Preparatory Academy prayer team. So let us stand, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Madam Vice Mayor, members of the council, City Manager Mike Hine. It is always a pleasure for me to stand before each of you in the time of giving and praying at this time for the invocation. I thought that tonight it would be fitting in honor of Back to School August to have one of our HPA scholars deliver the invocation. Miss Lexi is an HPA 10th grade scholar and is not only committed to our Trojan family, but she is also committed to our Groveland family. Miss Lexi.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council, and City Manager. My name is Lexi Aruz. I am a scholar representing Hope Preparatory Academy and the prayer team. First and foremost, I would like to thank all of you for all that you do to help improve the city of Groveland and the state of Florida. I'm absolutely blessed and honored to stand before you in prayer, so let us pray. Thank you, Jesus, for your grace and your mercy. Lord, I thank you for all that you do for us. Lord, we pray for those in authority. Holy Spirit, let their ears be sensitive to your whispers of guidance. Lord, may important decisions always be made based on the greater good and not on personal opinions. We thank you, Lord, because we see the changes in Groveland, and we know that through the guidance of the Lord, the impossible will be made possible. Lord, I pray for the younger generations that they become more involved with our community, especially the city of Groveland. Holy Spirit, may they give you all their stress and worries. I pray this prayer because your word says in Deuteronomy 31:6, do not fear the road ahead, for God walks with you, and with his grace will sustain you through every trial. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Jenny, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Mayor Keith Kehoe, excused absence. Vice Mayor Barbara Gaines.
Here.
Councilmember Amy Jo Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember Judith Fike.
Here.
Councilmember Mike Radzick.
Here.
City Manager Mike Hine.
Here.
City Attorney Anita Gerasi Carver.
Here.
Sergeant at Arms Chief Sean Ramsey. City Clerk Virginia Wright here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. A few housekeeping rules before we proceed. When you all come up for any comments, I ask that you please address them to the council and not to any one individual. So address the council. We will not have any personal attacks. When you come up, please give your name and address. But first and foremost, before you provide any comments, there are sheets in the back that you write your name and address on, and then write your question. You won't be acknowledged until you have filled that sheet out, and then the clerk will call you up. And that's it for that. We do not have any guest speakers or presentations and/or proclamations. So I would like to, excuse me for a minute. Oh, I am so sorry. It was cut off. I'm sorry. We do have a guest speaker, Kelly Howes, who is with the, Kelly, come on up while I stumble through this. Kelly. Okay.
Good evening. Good evening, City Manager, Council, Madam Vice Mayor. How are you today? Thank you guys for giving me time to come over. My name is Kelly Howes. I am the founder of the Healing Haven Holistic Studio, right here located in the heart of downtown Groveland. I will be officially open September 15th. Having a soft open September 7th. I'll tell you a little bit about my business. It is a holistic wellness studio. I conduct sound bath meditation. If you do not know what sound bath is, it is on sound bowls, Tibetan or crystal sound bowls, which gives a hertz and a vibration of your body. Do meditations, different forms of meditations, couple of meditations, wellness meditations, chakra balancing meditations, and the final and most amazing thing would be the yoni and lingam steams. A yoni steam and a lingam steam is when a male or a female sit on a pot of water that is steaming with herbs and flowers. So I look forward to actually connecting with the community, with the city, with the residents of Groveland, and bringing in wellness, bringing in just holistic services, different lifestyles, and more have a healthier and balanced community. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask.
Any questions? Any questions? You?
Okay, I'll be
Where-
holding a soft open on September 7th. I'll actually send over an email to the HR department as well as the city so that you all can receive the information. Yes, ma'am.
Where are you exactly located?
I'm right across the street of 137B West Broad Street. I'm connected in the same building as the bail bonds. I'm right behind the bail bond.
Now, I know that you offered a variety of services. What one would really stand out if Keith Breedlow wanted to take his get his wife a gift certificate? What is the one thing that separates you from others?
You said if who would?
Keith Breedlow.
Okay. The one thing that would separate me, for his wife would come in, she would be able to receive a meditation, a sound healing, a cup of herbal tea that is especially made by me. I would sit and discuss with her what needs that she would need to be addressed, whether it is frustration, stress, need just to relax, maybe she needs to just relief. She can come into the studio. We can actually go to the park, so it can be indoor or outdoor services that I do provide. So I am in tune with the person and individual needs.
Okay, I want to first, as you all know, I'm a big advocate of small businesses. 99% of the businesses in America are small. So I am a very big advocate for small businesses, and even more so for the businesses that recognize the city with natural charm and want to come here and do business. So I thank you for providing an access to health-focused products and services. And by you sharing these initiatives that promotes physical well-being, and hopefully it will help with our economic development and create jobs. And may you be able to buy some of the products that you need locally here. And I'm sure when the word gets out, it will increase foot traffic. So again, thank you so much, Kelly. I cannot endorse, but keep in mind these services that are being held locally here in Groveland help Kelly and help our economic development. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all for your time.
Okay. We're going to talk about agenda item number 1, the consolidation of approval, which is ordinance 2025-20.
Consent agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jenny, can we go over the consent agenda?
Yes, yes.
If we could first find out if any council members would like to remove an item from consent, or if there's any members of the audience who would like to remove something from consent.
Is there anyone that would like, any of the council members would like to remove an item from consent?
I would like to remove item G.
I'm sorry?
I would like to remove item G.
Okay, so item G will go under old business. Any others? So we have F and G, sir. D as in dog. E. So we have E, F, and G. Is that correct? Okay. We will now put those under old business.
Consideration of approval, July 18th, 2025, City Council Special Meeting Minutes, July 21st, 2025, City Council Meeting Minutes, Resolution 2025-54, approving 2025-RFP 003, General Construction Services, Resolution 2025-55, repealing Resolution 2024-98, and Resolution 2024-102, that authorize the city manager to approve and execute contracts between the City of Groveland and PwC Joint Venture LLC relating to the Sunshine Reclaim System upgrade and relating to Villa City Water Treatment Plant construction contingent on FDEP approval and issuance of an SRF loan/grant agreement.
Can I get a motion to accept?
I motion to accept the consent agenda.
Any,
I'll second.
is there any discussion? So can we take the roll?
Yes. Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Fike?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
And Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye. So we have E, F, and G under old business. So let us start. Jenny, will you read it?
Yes. Ordinance 2025-11, Palisades Comprehensive Plan Amendment, second reading, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Groveland, Lake County, Florida, amending the City of Groveland's comprehensive plan pursuant to 163.31871 Florida statutes by amending the future land use designation from Lake County Rural Transition to the City of Groveland established neighborhood on the future land use map for the herein described property consisting of 0.6582 plus minus acres authorizing the city manager to amend said comprehensive plan, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability and scrivener's errors, providing for an effective date, and providing for the forwarding of this ordinance to the State of Florida Department of Economic Opportunity.
Madam Vice Mayor, members of the council, since items E, F, and G are somewhat related, and I know we had some discussions at a previous meeting, perhaps Mr. Maslow can give a brief overview for you and the public.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Hahn. Madam Vice Mayor, members of the council, Robert, if you could please bring up the slides, I'll just provide that brief overview. While he's pulling that up, items E, F, and G are all related to the old Palisades maintenance shed outstanding code compliance item. We talked about the future land use of map amendment, the rezoning, and the special exception at the last meeting. The future land use map amendment and rezoning both require 2 readings. Special exception only requires 1. That's why we brought the item back for this meeting. I'll just provide an idea of where the property is. You can see in that green dot, close to where the Palisades is, off Cherry Lake Road. And again, it is a comprehensive plan amendment, future land use map amendment, changing it from Lake County rural and Lake County PUD, even though it is annexed into the city, just the golf course property only. There was a lot split done to reduce the property down to 0.65 acres, and that's also changing the maps to established neighborhood, and then also low-density residential on the zoning side. There is the special exception, which is really the main item that allows everything to work, and that's providing it for a private office use. And the applicant, again, is the Palisades HOA, and they currently own the property. There was a community meeting included. We went over this again at the last meeting. That meeting was back in April 15th. There was a desire from the Palisades homeowners to revitalize the maintenance shed versus tearing it down and using that as a private professional office with no customer interface. Improvements would include new landscaping, roof, and then repainting of the building. There was also interest from the property owners, mostly to the north of the property, seeing the Palisades maintenance shed just torn down and wiped away and demolished and cleaned up. There's the property there as showing the future land use map is being changed to established neighborhood. And as you can see, you have agriculture across the street, but then established neighborhood to the northwest and to the south of the property. Most of that to the south, of course, is the Palisades community. Staff recommendation for all the items were approval, but there are a number of conditions on the special exception, and I'm just going to make my way toward that. Here's some pictures of the property. Some of the landscape buffering requirements we went over at the last meeting. So regardless of how the building is renovated and the timing, the neighbors to the north wanted to make sure that there was proper screening, and we feel confident that we could do that by way of code and make sure that we have ample buffering so that the building is barely visible from the roadway and to the north after it's established. Planning and zoning agreed with previous city council approval, and then also staff recommendation for approval. Was a unanimous recommendation for approval from the Planning and Zoning Board. There were a number of these conditions. I'll read through them just to make sure that we're all on the same page. Subject properties to remain a one-story building because code allows for up to 35 feet, 3 stories for single-family homes. Since this is a special exception just for office, we're looking at just a max of 1 story. And most of that, the purpose is just to make sure those views of the lake are unobstructed from down the hill. Staff to work with the applicant to make sure that a building permit is provided within a timely manner. And I'm going to go to the next slide because there's a little bit more detail around that. I'm sorry. That time frame was changed from 90 days to 120 to provide a little bit more time to pull the permit. And then also a time frame of, instead of 12 months, I believe that was changed to 15 months to provide a little bit more time to complete construction. Main purpose was to make sure that if a special exception was approved by council, that the building just didn't sit in isolation without being reconstructed as the original intent was. So that said, staff recommends approval of the special exception, recommends approval of the future land use and zoning. You voted 4-1 to approve the future land use and zoning at your last meeting. You technically do have to vote on the future land use and zoning one more time, and then the special exception one time. And just a friendly reminder, this is all just for that maintenance shed property, 0.65 acres. With that said, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and I believe the HOA president is also in the audience.
Councilwoman Fike.
Thank you. So, Tim, reading this, it has to remain a one-story building. I know there's been some discussion about that they could, in the future, request or go through another rezoning if they wanted to have a taller building or put another story on that. That's it, one story, or is it possible that they could come back for a rezoning on that?
They would have to go back again through the original process, going to the Planning and Zoning Board for a recommendation, and then ultimately going through council for at least 2 hearings for a rezoning, 1 hearing for a special exception.
Thank you for the clarification. That's all I have.
If you
I
want
think
it to remain one story, that language is not in the resolution that's in front of you this evening, so you would have to condition it in your motion.
Anita, which resolution are we talking about? Because we've got E,
It
F, and
is
G.
Resolution 2025-37, the special exception use. The other one that's in the slides that the city just presented that is not in the resolution, that if you want it enforceable would need to be included, is no retail. It currently does not state that in the resolution.
Is that the same resolution you're talking
Yes,
about?
ma'am.
So both of those would have to go into G? Thank you
Correct.
for the clarification.
You're welcome.
I think that I made an error. This is only my second time sitting in for the mayor, and I think that I may have made an error. Should I have asked for a motion before the discussion?
You can. The other thing you might want to do is see if the applicant wants to give a presentation before you take a motion or have further discussion.
Okay, is the applicant here?
Evening. Brett Jones, 700 Alma Street, Claremont. I don't have a presentation. I'm available to answer any questions like we did a couple of weeks ago. I think you've already seen the presentation, so I'm happy to answer or reserve for later if you'd like to go through discussion. I'm at your service.
The only question I have is, anything changed at all from the first reading to this reading? Did we make any subject twos?
You had not seen the resolution previously, so no changes have been made to the zoning or the comp plan. The resolution, we did make some changes from the planning and zoning meeting to tonight's meeting to address some of the things that were discussed at the last council meeting.
So the presentation is exactly the same, with the exception of the resolution.
I think Mr. Maslow was saying the presentation was the same.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Carroll?
Since we're kind of pushing them together, I don't really have any questions about the 2 ordinances. I do find it concerning that we don't have the conditions in the resolution that, so it does leave it open so that they could do a lot of other things. I think that has to be corrected, but other than that.
So can I get a a motion and a second for this resolution, 2025-37.
Yes, Madam Vice Mayor, members of the council. It is a little confusing since 3 items that are related were pulled from consent. So it's old business. I recommend that we deal specifically with a motion on the first item, item E, ordinance 2025-11, the Palisades Comprehensive Plan Amendment, second reading.
Okay, can I get a motion and a second for the 2025-11 Palisades Comprehensive Plan Amendment?
I'll motion to approve ordinance 2025-11 Palisades Comprehensive Plan Amendment, second reading.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Councilwoman Carroll? No. Councilman Razzak?
Actually, the only question I had is to go back, Mr. Rossi Carver, you were talking about the resolution. Is that part of the special exception that we're going to want to tighten up with regards to being just a single-story building? It has nothing to do with the comp plan?
Nothing to do with this item.
Okay, so the comp plan has not changed from the first?
Correct. That
Okay.
remained the same.
That's all that matters.
Councilwoman Fike?
Nothing more, thank you.
Okay, now, is there any public comment? Should there be any, please wait for the city clerk to call your name and then come forth and give your name and address.
Excuse me. Vice Mayor, we do have several cards. Some do want to speak and some do not. I'll read the names of the individuals who do not wish to speak but are in support of the project. Danny Powers, Robert Hill, Denise McGovern, Arnold Ketchum, R. Christensen, Bruce Berger, Kenneth Anderson, Carol Colvin, Bill McGovern, Gilbert and Leona Tong, Jeff Howland, Bob Haring, Deborah Haring, and Deborah Howland. And then there are others who do wish to speak. Susan Ducey.
It's just about the comprehensive plan amendment.
And Vice Mayor, council members, I'm Susan Ducey. I live at 139 Harvest Gate Boulevard, Groveland, Florida. And I would like to say that we talked about having the zoning change. It seems like as long as it is the way that it was previously, that there was nothing wrong with that. Changing it to make it be low-density residential,
Madam Mayor?
or, excuse me.
This is a discussion about the comprehensive plan amendment, and she started off with rezoning, so
So this is not about E?
No, you have to, when we have an agenda item, it has to be related to that agenda item, and that's the Palisades Comprehensive Plan Amendment.
It's up to the council, since they were presented together. If you want to take public comment on all 3 at the same time, that's your purview. If you want them individually, then that's fine too. It's just that they're going to come up each time. So it may be more efficient to let everybody speak on the Palisades together.
but wouldn't it be better that just to go ahead and motion this as a slate versus one at a time?
Or we have to have separate public hearings, since we have people who have spoken.
Okay.
So what is your recommendation, Attorney?
My recommendation is to allow people to speak on all 3 items at one time.
Okay.
Is that still in the 5 minutes? See, I've already lost 2 minutes.
Can we start her over.
Well, we're doing
We'll
the
start you
procedural
over.
thing.
We'll start you
So
over. Is
we're
that
talking
okay?
about all of them now, and I get 5 minutes to talk about 3 things.
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, I guess that I might, since it's the most important one, then I will go ahead and talk about item G. It's going to be encapsulated, so it's going to be a surrounded building. We talk about putting trees and things up. I just want to talk about something that happened in my family. My father lived on a busy road, so he put up trees to stop the people from seeing him. Well, then the burglars found out that there was a house back there, and they started burglarizing his house. So he cut down the trees, and the burglarizing did stop for a while. But then my father got married and moved to his wife's house and only used the house for in the mornings and the evenings. The burglars again found out. They kept coming back, stealing things. One day, they stole things, and they set his house on fire. Fortunately, the neighbor saw it and was able to call the fire department. So now we have this building that we already know that crime has come to it. There's already been vandalism, there's already been garbage, there's been a trailer, there's been overgrown weeds, and now we know that it has drawn crime to the area. So if it's all encapsulated and it's done in that way, then it's going to say, oh, there's a sign. Oh, look, there's a business. I wonder if there's cars down there. I wonder if there's tools down there. I bet you there's all kinds of computers and everything. So that will draw people to it. He said that he's not going to have customers come in, but he has a sign. So somebody's going to drive by and say, oh, look, he has that. He drives down. What's the guy going to do? He has office hours. He has to let them in. So he will be dealing with customers if he gives them his phone number. If he says, you have to call this, you have to go there, I can't talk to you here, is that what he's going to say? So he will have customers down there. So there'll be traffic. Maybe if they miss his, they'll turn around in our neighborhood and go back for that. But the problem also is that the Palisades have not had to pay any money for their code violations. And we have an established neighborhood that's quiet and safe, and now we're talking about putting an office building in there. So if this thing passes, no neighborhood in Groveland will be safe, because they'll just say, well, we're going to put an office there, or maybe we'll make it commercial and we'll put commercial there. Will we have more patrols, more police officers coming, because we will be making a place that crime can come? So I want to know if we're going to be able to have the money for that. So also, we could have discrimination lawsuits, because you're giving all of this to people who don't live in Groveland. What if somebody in Groveland has blight? What if somebody in Groveland has violated the codes? Well, can't they say, well, look, you let Palisades not pay their code violations. You let Palisades put an office in. Why can't I do it? I live in Groveland, and I'll tear down my house if I sell it in 5 years or so, and then they can take care of it. So that could be a problem, too, for the finances of the city, is if lawsuits start coming in for discrimination, because why should anyone in Groveland pay for code violations? Why should anyone in Groveland think that they don't have to have an office building? That could be 3 stories. This one they say is not, but it could be, you know, so it's going to change the character of the neighborhood. It's going to change the quality of the neighborhood. It's going to put our children at risk because, as I said, there could be crime coming for that. It's an isolated area. It's not like it's out on 19 or 50 or something where people are driving by. It's just houses and a golf course. And so my recommendation is to just let them tear down the building, clear the lot, and clean it, and leave it as it is, without having it be residential. Because our neighborhood, when we moved in, it wasn't there. And I know that in your planning, I've looked at the map, that you want to have businesses mixed use, and I get that. But if the people move in before before the house is built and they're told that that's going to be there, then that's their choice and they know it's there. And some people like it. I don't. I don't want an office building. I don't want customers coming, because I don't know how you turn down customers when you have office hours and a business sign. So we're going to have a marquee up there, and, we could put other offices in there, lawyers or financial planners, or, there could be any number that could fit into that area of a business. And so I would just like that we, stick with local government and have local government listen to the people of Groveland and prefer us over people who don't live in Groveland, and that would be the people of Palisades. They have 200 acres, so, what's this if they have it left? Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you for your comments.
Vice Mayor? Before we
Gregory
put on,
Ducey.
Can we get an update on what the code violation status is?
Yes, Madam Vice Mayor, members of the council, it's still an open item. It will be heard at the next special magistrate meeting.
So it's not being waived, it's still to be heard?
It's still open, yes.
Okay.
It's providing enough time for this public process to play out, whether it gets a special exception to renovate or not. It will have to be demolished likely.
It's just important to get some of the facts out so that when we go to consider everything, we know what we're dealing with. So thank you very much.
Next.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Greg Ducey. I live at 139 Harvest Gate Boulevard, Groveland, Florida. I'm a
Sir,
resident of
excuse me, can
Groveland.
you talk more into the mic for
Okay,
me?
I'll stand like this, maybe that'll help. Is this good?
You can move it
Okay. Too tall. Okay. Well, thank you for allowing me to speak to both the council and the vice mayor. I have an issue with how this whole process went. They did not notify people the planning commission did not notify people within 500 feet of the area being changed. They sent it to an HOA. Our HOA received the mail, but the individuals there did not. I thought the individuals would be notified of that change, so you didn't do that. And then when they had the Planning and Zoning Commission, several questions were asked of Brett, which he couldn't answer because he's not the actual person who's trying to put the office there. One of the questions was, why doesn't the person who's going to put an office there go rent a 20 by 20? And he couldn't answer that because he's not the person doing the office. So he didn't have the ability to answer that. What I found interesting was in the last meeting that Palisades said that they're going to lose $200,000 if it's not changed to an office building. Well, they won't lose that because they still have the land even if it's not an office. And they said they spent like 40 or 50,000 to do this whole process. That's more money than it would have taken to tear the whole place down. And then they also said, here's some pictures of our nice changes of our clubhouse. We spent $1 million there, but they couldn't spend $35,000 or $40,000 to tear the maintenance building down. I find that very interesting. Also, he's going to spend $150,000 to buy the office building. That gives Palisades $100,000 or $110,000 or $120,000 to put in the Palisades coffers. So I think that's why Palisades is so go for it. Not that it's good for Groveland, but it's good for the Palisades HOA. Also, if he's going to, the building that he's refurbishing is 2,900 square feet and has 2 half baths based upon the survey information provided. He's only going to put one person in there and nobody else? To me, it sounds like it might be a flip where he fixes it up and he sells it to other businesses, and then you have a lot more traffic. So I think that's a very good point to consider too, is what is he going to do? And when he does, he's not going to own it forever. When he sells it, who's going to move in? You don't know. And what type of business are they going to put in? It just has to fit the criteria of the personal business or the business office category, and it could be a lot of different things. So I thank you for your time. It was very helpful.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor, another clarification, if I may. Mr. Maslow, was this properly noticed?
Yes, it was noticed to residents, homeowners within 500 feet of the property.
Just for a matter of perception, how far is 500 feet from that window moving out? About?
It's about a block worth. To put it
Maybe
in
over
scale,
across-
our blocks
maybe
here are a
across-
little bit less than
maybe across
500
the
feet.
street by the old Shuffling It Up, maybe?
About that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Alan Joyce.
Hi, Alan Joyce, address protected. I speak against the proposals, and The one thing is, I believe there's some procedure issues regarding this property, some procedural issues. One is the notification for the comprehensive plan and the rezoning. They sent the HOA the notification, but your guidelines say you have to send it to the homeowners and the HOA, and there's 3 homeowners within the 500-foot radius. You go to Lake County Property Appraiser's website, you can do the measurement, and they're within the 500 feet. And I notified them back in July about that. The address is specific to that one is 213 Shady Heather Lane, 215 Shady Heather Lane, 161 Harvest Gate Boulevard. Those are Groveland residents. On West Apsura Road, they failed to notify 17103 West Apsura Road within 500 feet. And the one that they did notify, 17040 West Apsura Road, he died a year and a half ago, sold the house. New owners have been there for a year and a half. So they sent it to the previous person that's been deceased for a year and a half. So that's not accurate. Then when you go to the lot split is concerning the lot 328-2396. So the maintenance shed is being taken from lot 328-2396. That one goes for 1,000 and something feet down Cherry Lake Road and further than where the actual maintenance shed is. There's at least 10 more homeowners that were not notified regarding that by mail. So there's at least, again, 5 that weren't notified for the rezoning and the land use, and there's an additional amount that weren't notified in addition to those for the lot split. Then, like the mayor had mentioned before, that driveway coming out of the Palisades maintenance shed is at least a 30-degree incline. Now, 25 years ago when the maintenance shed, or 20 years ago when it was being used, you had 20, 40 cars at the most going down Cherry Lake Road at that time. Now you've put in thousands and thousands of homes. You have a lot of homes, and anybody coming out of this maintenance shed is going up like they're taking off in a jet. It's very hard to see cars coming this way. And then when you add in that landscaping buffer that is going to hide the shed, there is a dramatic increase in some sort of bad accident happening there. Something we did propose, I proposed it to the city manager staff, is there is a gated entrance 200 feet down the road to the west of that maintenance shed that's on flat land, and they could go through there. Palisades could easily give them a easement across there at no cost. You could put in an asphalt millings road at minimal cost and travel over to the maintenance shed that way without jeopardizing people leaving that business, which will be resold in the future, we know, or anybody on Cherry Lake Road or the school bus stop. So that's a major concern. I approached the city staff with that in writing. The city manager, who was very nice to meet with me, but he said it was a no-go with the Palisades staff or the Palisades people. But I offered that as a solution. So that's a big safety concern, but the fact that the procedural issues weren't properly done, and a perfect example, Galassi, which was also the last meeting, they notified the HOA and each individual homeowner within that 500-foot radius, but not Cherry Lake Oaks. They didn't do that. And there's just inconsistencies, just like the finding. That building's been like that since 2019 that they've owned it, and no fines since 2019. But there's a hotel on Highway 27 and State Road 19 there, and they got over $60,000 in fine, and it's been in compliance, and it's been out of compliance a lot less time than the Palisades thing. Why? Why are there special deals? And why aren't we putting that one story and no retail into the resolution? Why does it take the sharp attorneys or other people to point it out? It's like, there's just so many things that make you go, It's just not being done the way that I would hope procedural things would be done in that way. So thank you, but I'm asking please not to approve this. It's definitely not noticed right, and I don't think it's a benefit to our neighborhood at all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ron Herman.
Again, a couple of questions for Mr. Maslow or Anita Drossi Carver. When it comes to properly noticing, whether it's an HOA or every single person, what is the law and what did we follow?
We followed our code standards in terms of individualized notices. They go to private properties. Again, those are within 500 feet. That buffer sometimes changes depending on the type of the project. In this case, we also held a separate community meeting. We also posted this application on social media, in the newspaper, and also a sign on the site. I think it's evidenced by well attendance of both the community meeting, the Planning and Zoning Board, the last meeting, and this meeting, that people who want to engage on this property have had the ability to do so.
We didn't hear this at the last meeting, that's why I'm asking. Can I ask the applicant, Mr. Jones, a question? My recollection is that this is an online truck leasing firm?
Yes, I think the answer to that, for completeness of your question, is, are there going to be people that are going there? And the answer is no. The trucks are sold online, so it's not an internet business, but the sales occur in cyberspace, and this is just an office for paperwork for the person who owns it.
So I'm not going to have the issue of 5, 6 cars trying to make it up this hill onto oncoming traffic on Cherry Lake?
That's right.
Okay, all right.
Can we wait till the end?
We could, but it's going to get lost. But if you want to, I will.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, council members. My name is Ron Herman. I live at 9837 Spring Lake Drive in Claremont. In 2019, we purchased the golf course property, which included a bunch of buildings, and we started on the clubhouse to begin with. And I mentioned the clubhouse because it was pretty much in the same shape as the maintenance building. It was rat infested. It was overgrown with landscape. There were holes in the roof. There were holes in the walls. There were broken windows, graffiti everywhere. It was a hangout for kids, for teens and vandals. And we had people that felt that it should be torn down. It was a structurally sound building that people thought we should tear it down. Instead of adding to a landfill, we decided that we would spend some money, not the $1 million that you've heard, but we definitely spent some money. And we also had 100+ volunteers or residents that volunteered thousands of hours to take that building, which was an embarrassment to our community, and turn it into the beautiful clubhouse that we have now. And I think we shared some pictures with you the last time. It's a building that's going to last for us for a long time for our community to use. Well, now we have the maintenance shed issue. It's a structurally sound building. Yes, it needs a roof, it needs paint, it needs a little extra love, but we had 4 options that we basically could do. We could certainly tear the building down and add it to the landfill. We could turn it into our RV lot. With the RV lot, you're talking about 24-hour access. You're talking about a lot more traffic coming and going, more lighting, and with tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of recreational vehicles, it would certainly be attractive to thieves. The third option would have been to take it back to its original purpose from 2019, from 91, I think, when it was built. And that would be let the landscapers use it. At that point, you're talking about more traffic, you're talking about trucks being in there, mowers, more noise, everything else. The fourth option would be to find a buyer to sell the property. Find a buyer that would take the same care and dedication that we put into the clubhouse and do it to the maintenance building. As it turned out, we found somebody that has already demonstrated in his own property the kind of care that he has for the community, and for a property he owns. He's also demonstrated that in this property by spending over $7,000 fixing up and getting it to where it is now, and that's a property he doesn't even own. So it turns out, is selling the property the best option? Well, we're not needlessly adding to a landfill like option 1. We're not adding extra traffic and lights and more people like option 2, and certainly not a haven for thieves when you're storing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of recreation equipment like option 2. Option 3, again, you're going to have noise, you're going to have more traffic, you're going to have machinery. That's option 3. We felt that the best option was to sell the building, find somebody that would be as dedicated to that building as we were to the clubhouse, and turn it into an office. A single 1 or 2 person office. Not an office building, no customers, no sales, nothing where you got people coming and going, just 1 or 2 people working in the office. It's going to be secured, it's going to have a gate. Obviously, there's going to be security in the building itself, so it wouldn't be attractive to thieves any more than any other building in that area. We presented the sale to our homeowners. 299, 97% of the homeowners agreed that the sale was the best option, and not because we were making money off the property, because it's good for our community, it's good for surrounding communities, and it's also good for the environment by not filling up the landfill. 97% approved it. Now, as Palisades residents, we thank you for the time that you've invested in looking at this, and we ask for your approval also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ernest Kirkland.
Good evening. My name is Ernest Kirkland. I live at 9942 Spring Lake Drive, and I am a resident of Palisades. I go back with this property to 2011, when the original golf course was purchased by a predator builder. We tried every way in the world to get him out there. He tried to build. He came to Groveland to annex the property when Mayor Lentz was the mayor, and there was, I don't know, 100 of us in here in red shirts saying, no, don't annex it. Well, the bottom line is Groveland could not annex the property. They couldn't even purchase the property from this predator because we had right of first refusal unless it was anything other than a golf course. And through Mr. Hine, who had recently, I guess, become the city manager, hadn't been there for too long, we come up with a win-win situation where we gave Groveland the right to acquire the property without us preventing it. We gave them a 160-some million gallon well, which gave you all a $4 million savings over some water issues. I was listening last week to the water issues. Same thing, it's always going to be about water. We had no need for the water. We have a permit through Lake Mineola if we wanted to open the golf course, which doesn't look like it's going to be a viable entry. This property has no value for us. The ones that we're talking about has no value for us. We tear the building down, we spend $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a year keeping it clean. It's not going to happen. We've been in this process for over a year trying to get this taken care of, okay? And it has been a long process. Now, I understand people resist change. I resist change. However, in the scheme of things, the building's going to be used by the owner. If he has trouble getting up out of there, he can park somewhere else and walk down, I guess, if he wants to. But there's no reason for us to give him another 200 feet for safety purposes. Somebody can determine whether it's safe or not me. I drove a mail truck. They were never safe. We drove them anyway. All right. My concern is that we have people that are at the party for the last moment. We have been pretty good neighbors for Groveland. All the golf courses in Groveland, all the houses aren't. We discussed at one time maybe annexing, but it wasn't a win-win for us. But here's what you need to realize. We have already committed to allowing the Groveland Water Company access through our property to run an 8-inch water line, which will increase the water pressure for people in that area, which probably increases it across the road too. We're in discussions with Lake County concerning property that is probably 10 times this size for a roundabout at the corner of Jellarmy and 561, which is going to allow everyone to get in and out of the property even more than it is now. We're not trying to pull anything over anybody's eyes. We're not trying to make money. If we were trying to make money, we would develop that property into something that made development, like a storage lot. But anyway, I thank you all for your job, because I know how it is to listen to people like me whine and cry. And I'm going to get off here short of a minute, which is a record. Everyone can tell you that. You can hear that. We appreciate consideration on the matter, and we would urge that you all approve all of it, because we're going to be good neighbors too. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so that concludes the public comments regarding this. So now I am looking for a motion and a second.
We have a motion and a second. We have a motion and a second.
For 11, 12, and 37?
Do you want to do one at a time?
Oh,
2025-11.
okay, so do you have any questions regarding?
No, I got the three things I wanted clarified. Code violation to be handled with the special magistrate. It was properly noticed. Maybe one car coming out of the driveway because it's basically an online business. Yeah, so I'm
Okay.
fine.
So can I get a,
I have another question.
okay, so can we take a vote?
Wait, I have another question.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Is there a reason that the updating the comp plan and the rezoning was not done when we annexed the property in? Isn't that usually happen all at once?
Typically, I can't tell you why that wasn't happen. That didn't happen at that time.
That does normally happen, right?
Now, if we did it now, today, we would definitely do it that way.
Okay, thank you.
You would see an annexation, future land use map amendment, and rezoning all packaged simultaneously.
Those first two are more housekeeping, and then the special exception is like the other thing.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Madam Vice Mayor, may I ask one quick question? I don't know if this is a question, it might be for Brett, I'm not sure. I've heard twice tonight that there will be a big sign and/or a marquee. My understanding is with this being an individual business, him working internet-wise, is there going to be any signage on that property indicating what his business is?
Sure, there will be a sign for the purpose of the business. To reference Mr. Radzik, it is a wholesale truck that, sales business that occurs on the internet. There's a license that you have to do that. There are certain things that you need to have that license and operate. One of the things is there must be a sign. So the sign will comply with the pretty extensive sign ordinance that you have in the city of Groveland. It's actually a really good ordinance.
Thank you for the clarification.
Are you the one that made the motion? Are you the one that made the motion? Okay. And who seconded?
I'm not sure neon signs are allowed.
Neon signs are prohibited, but to Anita's point earlier, if you have any additional criteria that you want to make sure is in the special exception, such as sign types or sign size, those are all conditions that you could include with your motion. Those conditions would be memorialized in the special exception.
Okay. No, I don't have any more questions.
Okay. So now we are ready to take a vote. And I will start with Councilwoman Amy Jo Carroll.
That would be Jan's job.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jenny. I'm trying to take your job off.
You're taking
I can
everybody's
do the
job
roll
tonight.
call. We have a motion on the floor, so I'll do the roll call.
You did that pretty good, though.
I am so sorry.
I was like, what?
It's all good, though, y'all. It's all good.
You're doing great,
Councilmember Radzik, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Fike?
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye. Is this where you get to hit the gavel? Okay. Okay, now moving on to Resolution 2025.
Ordinance 2025-12.
We saying no?
Ordinance 2025-12, second reading.
Yeah, Madam Vice Mayor, members of the council, item F was moved from consent as well, so that would be the next item, ordinance number 2025-12, the rezoning.
Yeah, but I was getting ready to say that. Okay. That's okay. Okay. So can I get a motion and a
Read
second?
it into the record, Vice
I
Mayor.
do not like putting all this stuff together.
Ordinance
I am
2025.
I'm a novice at this.
You're
but
doing great, Barbara.
You all, I will get it down.
Going.
Hopefully, the next time, we will not have all of this. Okay, so let me apologize up front. Okay?
Ordinance 2025-12, Palisades rezoning, second reading. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Groveland, Florida, to change the zoning from Lake County PUD to City of Groveland, low-density residential for the herein described property owned by Palisades Homeowners Association, Inc., and located on Cherry Lake Road, Groveland, Florida, lying south of the intersection of Cherry Lake Road and west of Upshaw Road, directing the city manager to amend the zoning map as herein provided after the passage of this ordinance, providing for severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for Scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, get a motion and a second?
What are you pointing at me for?
I'll make a motion
There you go.
to approve 2025-12 Palisades rezoning, second reading.
I'll approve. I'll second, sorry.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Mr. Maslow gave it to us before.
Is there any public comment, or we are done with public comment?
yeah.
Yeah, we did it all together. Okay, if that's the case, Jenny, I'm not going to take your job over. So would you call the roll?
Yes. Councilmember Radzik, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Fike?
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye. Okay, and last but certainly not least, is the 2025-37, Resolution 2025-37, Palisades Special Exception Use.
Resolution 2025-37 Palisades Special Exception Use. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Groveland, Florida, granting a special exceptions use in the low-density residential zoning district in the City of Groveland to allow for office use on the herein described property located on Cherry Lake Road in the City of Groveland, Florida, lying south of the intersection of Cherry Lake Road and west of Apshawa Road, and owned by Palisades Homeowners Association, Inc., providing for conditions, expiration, and revocation, and providing for an effective date.
May I get a motion and a second?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept Resolution 2025-37, adding in that the building will be limited to one story, that there will be no retail sales, since this is all internet sales. But I'd like to add that into that special exception use.
No neon signs.
Oh, and no neon signs. Anything else?
May I get a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
No, I got the exceptions in there. I'm good with that.
Got some questions from Mr. Maslow. What, if anything, did the P and Z note with regards to the special exception?
The recommendation was to approve unanimously. They also recommended to work with the applicant on landscape buffer requirements that the neighbors had brought up at that P&Z meeting. And then also, they did indicate providing a little bit more time in terms of permitting instruction process to make sure that it was reasonable. And so we did change some of those time constraints in terms of instead of 12 months to construct and have it complete, 15 months.
Can I ask the Vice Mayor to ask the Councilwoman to add in landscape buffer as part of the special exception?
That language is already in the resolution. The landscaping buffer is already in the
It's
resolution.
in the resolution? Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's fine.
Good.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on it? Okay. So can we do the roll call for the vote?
Yes. Councilmember Fike, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll?
Nay.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Okay.
Is that an aye?
What was the vote on that one?
Is that a nay?
Nay. I said nay.
How many
Yes.
ayes?
Yeah, it was nay.
2 ayes, right? There were 2
Right.
ayes,
Right?
and there were 2 nays.
Okay.
Guess we revisit this when the mayor gets back from Prague.
Yeah, Madam Vice Mayor, members of the council, perhaps Anita can explain with a tie and the rezone and the comp plan amended, but no special exceptions, what happens next?
Correct. It's a tie vote, so the motion did not approve. We'll have to look in your code to see if it's something that they can bring back at a future date and if there's any time constraints.
Okay.
Is there anything at some point that we can get an idea from the dissenting vote as to what it would take to make this a affirmative vote?
You're welcome to have that discussion now if you'd like.
I mean, if, first off, you know, Keogh's coming back in a couple of weeks, you know, maybe it's going to change, but it would be nice to know what could be changed, if anything.
I don't like the idea of the commercial in the middle of the residential, but, so I don't think there's anything they can change per se to change my mind.
Yes, sir?
Yeah, thank you for recognizing me. May I request that your city attorney explain what happens now that you've approved the comprehensive plan amendment and the rezoning, and what property rights were conferred upon Palisades when you did that?
It has the ability to develop in accordance with the current zoning that is now in place, which is single-family residential.
So what's occurred tonight is you've amended the comprehensive plan and you rezoned it so that it can be developed for residential.
I'm sorry, would you repeat that again?
Yes. What you've done tonight is you've amended your comprehensive plan and you rezoned the property so it can be developed into residential now. So without the special exception, that's a property right that was conferred. So these are a package deal so that when the special exception is then voted on, it puts it in that one singular use, which you now know kind of everything about. But what you just did over the past half an hour is you said they can do, without the special exception, is they can develop single-family homes there now. So I want to make sure that's crystal clear to you.
My intentions were not to have it voted as residential. So I guess my question is, how do I renege my vote?
So on 0.6 acres, how many houses could they put in low-density housing?
It's 4 units per acre times 0.65, you're looking at 2.
Okay.
2 units.
That's fine.
I agree with that math.
So you could make a motion to reconsider the action, and if you could get a second, then it could move forward to a revote.
Motion to reconsider would be on someone who voted aye,
Okay.
correct?
Well, it was a tie vote, so there's no prevailing party or prevailing vote
Okay,
in this
good
case, so
enough.
anybody could move for a motion to reconsider.
Okay.
Well, I would like to reconsider my vote then.
The motion to reconsider the action, so if there's a second, then it would move forward and you could make another motion.
I'll second the motion to reconsider.
And then we would take a vote on the motion to reconsider.
Vice Mayor Gaines, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll?
Nay.
Councilmember Fike?
Aye.
Thank you.
Now we need to go back and get a motion on the special exception use, 2025-37.
Yes.
Okay, can I get a motion and a second on this?
I will restate my motion from earlier to accept Resolution 2025-37 Palisades Special Exception Use, limiting it again to 1 story, no retail, and no neon signs.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Any discussion?
Councilmember Fike, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll?
Nay.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye.
That was very confusing.
Moving on to new business.
Whatever it is. Consideration of approval, ordinance 2025-20, Cherry Lake Village PUD Amendment, first reading. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Groveland, County of Lake, State of Florida, amending ordinances 2002-0732B and 2017-12-38, the PUD for estates at Cherry Lake relating to the development of hereafter described lands within the City of Groveland, Florida, owned by Orsi Development, Inc. and Sunfield Homes, Inc., and located at Cherry Valley Trail and Wilson Lake Parkway, Groveland, Florida, amending the development plan relating to the village center, providing for directions to the city manager, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Jenny. Do I have a motion and a second for the consideration of approval for 2025-20 Cherry Lake Village PUD Amendment? First reading?
Can we get Mr. Maslow to give us a brief introduction first?
Absolutely.
Happy, thank you, Madam Vice Mayor, members of the council. Okay, so shifting gears a little bit, just up the road, moving west along Cherry Lake Road and north on Wilson Lake Parkway. This is the last piece of the Cherry Lake Estates PUD. It's been entitled since the early 2000s. This property that we're about to look at is directly south of Cherry Lake Park and the new Cherry Lake Prep K through 5 charter school. It is a one item tonight for one project. It's a plan unit PUD amendment, kind of like a rezoning. The applicant is here, ETM. You have both the attorney and the engineer and the home builder in the audience today if needed. Existing feature land use is established neighborhood. Existing zoning, again, is planned unit development. The request is to amend the existing PUD to develop 202 single-family homes, 71 townhomes, and add 1.1 acres of commercial space. And it is about 83 acres is the remainder. This is, again, the last undeveloped piece of this PUD. Here is a comparison. On the left-hand side, you have the existing PUD. Again, this is consistent with the original that was from the early 2000s. It was originally envisioned as a mixed-use, walkable village center. You'd have the park and the school just north of it, and then the residential neighborhoods around it. It includes 229 single-family units, 100 multifamily units, 50,000 square feet of office, and then 175,000 square feet of commercial. Little typo down there, pardon me. The proposed entitlements are 202 single-family units, 71 townhomes, no office uses, 10,000 square feet of commercial. There is a requirement in the PUD today for this property that only allows residential if it's on top of a non-residential use. In a sense, it would have to be vertically mixed use. PUD would amend that requirement to allow residential that could be just standalone detached residential or attached townhomes. These are some pictures just to kind of illustrate from the existing PUD what the original intent of that property was. Very similar to what you see for our village core, town core, hamlet core zonings to provide different walkable amenities, commercial uses, retail services, within a walkable format around residential neighborhoods. There are some mixed policies, some in favor, some not in favor of the amendment. I'll read some of them to you. These are, again, are from our existing future land use element, our comprehensive plan. City shall enhance existing neighborhoods by encouraging a variety of housing types and mobility options. The future land use map shall designate sufficient land area for residential land uses according to a pattern which promotes neighborhood cohesiveness and identity, sustainable development principles which enable efficient provision of public facilities and services. And then some policies that are not in favor. The city shall discourage urban sprawl to reduce land consumption and service extensions by focusing growth in mixed-use neighborhoods and employment centers. The city shall maintain an energy-efficient land use pattern that shall promote the use of transit and alternative methods of transportation that decrease reliance on the automobile. Like the previous item, we did include a community meeting just to get community feedback prior to taking this to the Planning and Zoning Board and Council tonight. The feedback that we received, more commercial acreage for neighborhood scale retail services, pedestrian-friendly environment, open spaces with amenities for the community. At the P&Z meeting, we did have one nearby resident who attended, and he echoed those desires for additional commercial and services in the area. The applicant does have a presentation. I do want to let you know that P&Z did vote at the previous meeting unanimous denial, mostly because there was not enough commercial square footage and acreage down to 1 acre versus the entirety of the property. But at that point, I'll let the applicant speak and provide their presentation. Do you have a new one? Was I by chance copied on that email? It's Timothy?
Let me take a 5-minute break. I gotta go to the bathroom too.
While they are bringing up the presentation, let's take a 5-minute break, and we will start in exactly 5 minutes. Thank you. best laid plans of mice and men. So we're going to get there.
Getting better. Same one. Maybe.
Here we go.
That's it.
All right, here we go.
Yay.
Yay. Moving right along.
Glad it came up, otherwise I was going to have to sing for you guys. And you really didn't want that.
I'm sure it would have been lovely. Lovely.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and Council. I am Carolyn Haslam with Ackerman, and I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicant and developer for the project. My address, for the record, is 420 South Orange Avenue, Suite 1200 in Orlando. Thank you, staff, for its presentation, and IT Hope. Our presentation is intended to be just some additional information on details regarding our proposed development. I'm joined this evening by a representative of my client, the developer, not only the residential half, but also the commercial half. So if there's questions related to the commercial development and our analysis on that, we have somebody here tonight who can answer those questions. Additionally, we have our PE consultant that can answer any specific questions as well. So, of course, we're here tonight requesting approval for an amendment to the East Cherry Lake PD, which was approved in 2003. It has a significant amount of single-family residential, but it also has townhomes, villas, retail, office, commercial, recreational, and public uses allowed. Most of the amendments that have existed previously have been in relation to minor text amendments related to public dedications, including a change that was to move the school property from dedication to Lake County schools to the city of Groveland due to disinterest by the county to develop a school in the area. It's not moving to the next slide. Oh, okay, this does not work. Okay, here's the existing conceptual slide for the project. The area is zoomed out for context. You can see the proposed area is outlined in red. Now we have a close-up view of the conceptual plan. It allows for what is proposed currently allows for up to 175,000 square feet of commercial and 50,000 square feet of office, as well as the residential development. The amount of units that are left within the PUD is 229 single-family residential and 100 multifamily units. This slide will show a comparison of the existing and proposed PD, as well as the trip generation for the project. The trip generation comparison based on AM peak, PM peak, and daily trips, the proposed project is about 41% of the peak morning traffic, 30% of the peak afternoon traffic, and a mere 24% of the daily traffic that was previously approved with the PUD as it exists today. This is a significant reduction on the impact to the area roadways. Less units will have a decreased impact on the public resources, including water, sewer, parks, and schools. My client is a contract purchaser. They are not the master developer, but this slide does give an overview of all of the public dedications that have been made within this project to the public under the control of the city. A 2-acre site was dedicated as a public safety complex, which is today Fire Station 94. A 20-acre school site and a 20-acre park were dedicated to the city. In lieu of developing the 20-acre school, the city sold 5 of those acres to the Cherry Lake Charter School. The sale recouped about $1 million, and that was put recently by the council into the budget to cover the Cherry Lake Park improvements, which are now on the remaining 35 acres. Our proposed conceptual plan, the 35-foot single-family lots are in orange. The townhomes are in brown. Those areas could also have villas, paired villas later on. It could be either or. And the blue and the green areas are for open space and stormwater. Here's a closer look. My client is proposing a maximum of 202 single-family detached homes and 71 multifamily units, either the villas or townhomes. This slide is a comparison to what is existing in the PD, the city's form-based code, and what we're proposing under the updated PD. The project that we're proposing will maintain the 38% open space, and it will meet the city's new form-based code requirements, which include amenitized stormwater and open space facilities, as well as more mature landscaping at planting and tree-lined streets. The proposed project also meets the city's requirement for block perimeter and parking, which includes street parking, guest parking, as well as your typical driveway and garage parking throughout the development, which is an increase over what is required under the PD. And because the project has sufficient parking therein, it will reduce impacts on adjacent streets. The rear loading, block size, and scale of the homes will help to create a more pedestrian-friendly community within this portion of the development. And each of the items results in a better project through design. This slide illustrates the roadways, including the 50-foot right-of-way cross-section. The city's new code standards, which this project will meet, are designed to provide for their parking lanes outside of the drive lanes so that there is no compromise to the size of the drive lanes, allowing for fire trucks and cars to maneuver safely through the development while also having parking on both sides of the street. Here, you'll see an early architectural rendering for the townhome portion of the project. It meets the city's form-based code requirements. The home builder for this project is Hardison Homes. They are a relative newcomer to the market. They are currently selling in 5 communities in the region, including in DeLand and St. Cloud. And as of late, they've been working very hard to acquire properties in Lake County, including in Groveland, in order to develop here. Renderings are not available related to these single-family homes or villas because new product has to be created, and it's to be designed in keeping with the specific size requirements and the architectural standards from the city's form-based code. I know you guys are familiar, but some of the audience might not know how detailed the standards of the form-based code are for architecture. They include everything from materials and features, porches, color palette, fence and sign requirements, all of which have to be approved, have to be within approved architectural styles, which include Florida vernacular and Spanish colonial. Okay, so my client is a residential developer. They have a sister company that's a commercial developer. When they got under contract on this property, the idea, the vision was to sort of emulate the development that's near it, right? The large lot, that type of single-family residential. Once they began the process, they looked at the existing zoning and what was allowed for the property, and then worked considerably with city staff and its consultants to design a workable project. The result of that is my client agreeing to meet the city's form-based code. My client spent a considerable amount of time and effort evaluating the commercial development that could be in this project to make it financially viable. They consulted with their commercial counterparts who ran the analysis in relation to the number of homes in the development, the proximity of additional homes, nearby transportation roads and patterns, the number of trips that run down these two access streets, area median income, all of the things that commercial developers look at when they decide what they will be able to put in an area. This review concluded with a commercial project that is shown of 10,000 square feet. Anything beyond that was determined not to be financially viable. The issue with the amount of commercial that is currently approved there is that the remainder of the project is fully built out. And if it's fully built out and it doesn't have enough trips on the streets currently to warrant the level of commercial, that commercial will never come to fruition. And if it did, it would be plagued by empty storefronts, businesses that are not successful in the long term. Our proposal is more neighborhood scale and will have significantly less impact on the community that has expressed concerns for the safety on the roads and nearing capacity for the wastewater treatment plant here in the city. You can see the commercial development provided is a minimum of 10,000 square feet on a 1 acre parcel. The commercial as well as the residential along the boundary of the Cherry Lake Park would front with access on the street which runs along the charter school and park border. The reason for that is to enhance opportunities for walkability and connection between those land uses. The project provides for connectivity along not only the roadways and the green spaces, in proximity to and connection with the city's park. The intent is for the residents and the neighbors to be able to walk through these spaces on their way to Cherry Lake Park, for the parents that are at the school and the park users to be able to utilize these neighborhood retail uses at drop-off, pickup, or whenever they are otherwise at the park. Although my client does not have an end user identified currently, the allowable commercial uses are within the zoning. They are largely small retail and office uses that are integrated into the community. Although the application technically says we're not going to have any office, a good number of the allowable uses under the commercial development are in fact offices. So the proposed development is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan existing neighborhood designation, and we argue is compatible with the adjacent neighborhood. The project allowed under the current zoning, with its significant commercial development on the roads that are already experiencing unsafe speeds and accidents. And the proposed development is a reduction on all of the remaining entitlements: less single family, less multifamily, and minimal office and commercial. As a result, the proposed development is a lesser impact on the city and the county services, including utilities, water, sewer, roads, and schools. I wanted to touch briefly on a point within the staff presentation regarding the potential for this development to encourage urban sprawl and energy inefficient development. Locating commercial development as approved currently would not in and of itself create urban sprawl. Use alone does not create urban sprawl or inefficient land use patterns. Form is a very important part of that. And it was part of the reason why the city adopted a form-based code, so that it would address the impacts of the segregation of land uses, Euclidean zoning, and old codes that previously existed, which themselves created sprawling land use patterns. In May, we held a community meeting with approximately 30 attendees. We heard from neighbors who were concerned with the lack of mature landscaping and connectivity and usability of their stormwater facilities and open space areas within their neighborhoods. To them, we offered that this project will meet the city's form-based code, increasing landscaping and amenitized open spaces, including stormwater. We also heard from the neighbors who were concerned about unsafe streets due to speeding in residential areas, desire for walkable streets for the development, and unfortunately also concerns about city fire trucks not being able to maneuver through existing neighborhoods. And to them, we offer that this will meet the city's form-based code and its increased ability to provide safely for on-street parkings and sufficient roadway widths through roadway design. And lastly, at our community meeting, we heard from residents who desired more commercial development, including some who indicated a preference for the existing plan. At the P&Z meeting, we had one speaker who also reiterated that they preferred to have the existing commercial plan. We received a recommendation for denial from P&Z with the members who expressed this very same desire for commercial development. Although we understand that the developer's 22 years of unsuccessfully marketing this property as a commercial development without any progress is not likely to impact their desire to have a nearby grocery store or medical clinic or daycare center, to them we offer that this proposed development, providing for 10,000 square feet of commercial and meeting the city's form-based code, is a sincere effort to address as many of their concerns as we could while keeping it a financially viable project. The proposed project's rear loading, block size, and scale of the homes help to create a more pedestrian-friendly community for this portion of the neighborhood. The design will help produce a more dense and walkable development, but it cannot in and of itself make the entire development walkable. No amount of commercial that's developed here on this parcel would make that happen. The suburban scale of the homes and the roadways are what make this neighborhood not walkable, not a total lack of commercial. So I hope that this has been helpful. We firmly believe that this is a good project, and we ask that you, based on the competent and substantial evidence, vote for approval of this PD amendment. Again, my team is here tonight. We have a commercial and residential counterpart to the developer, as well as our PE, to answer any questions that you may have or that may be had by the public. And we would like to reserve the right to rebut with any answers. Thank you.
Councilwoman Carroll?
I don't have any questions. It seems like we're significantly reducing what we could put there, which is going to significantly reduce the traffic that could come in. And I think traffic has been one of the biggest concerns in that area for a while now. So I don't really have anything else to say.
Thank you. Mr. Maslow. Original concept had 50,000 square foot of commercial up to, was it just 50,000?
Let me go up to the original.
It said
slide.
50,000.
It should be 50,000.
Of office and
I'll bring up the
175 of commercial.
Some commercial, some retail?
Office space and commercial.
Okay. My next question, as you're looking at that, is probably not the nicest question to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway, and that is, since these slides were not the original slides intended for this presentation, from a city's perspective, has the information been vetted, and can it be relied upon?
It seems proficient. It seems correct information. It's just revised based off of P&Z meeting before.
Okay. I believe that this revision is going against the original vision of the estates at Cherry Lakes PUD from at least the commercial perspective. Matter of fact, you and I have talked, and I've been involved in this PUD up there like forever, and that PUD was before its time. It was before your future land use. And by going ahead and changing it, I believe that we're going to put that in doubt to some degree. When was the last time a traffic study was done?
It'd likely be the charter school was probably the last project, but for this specific property, I think we did a soft analysis, but it wasn't a full traffic study, and that's what basically provided you the numbers with some of the trip reductions with this use that the applicant presented before.
So that's a red flag for me if I don't have an up-to-date traffic study. I know Wilson Lake is already a problem. That's a big red flag. What's a bungalow? I mean, I know what a bungalow is in New Jersey, and that's like a little beach house, but what is a bungalow?
Chris Forshaw with England Timms Miller, 1411 Edgewater Drive, Orlando, Florida. The bungalow, and actually the way these have been set up on this one is that they're called bungalows, but it's been planned that it could be one of two things. So either a standalone single-family unit, it's 35 feet wide is the overall lot width, so it'd be a 24-foot wide rear-loaded building, single-family, probably two-story. And then the second part of that would be that it could be a paired villa, which would, again, be on the same lot size, just to have a shared common wall.
What's the square footage of a single bungalow?
Uh, 1,500 to 3,000 square feet.
Several years ago, we had some development that was trying to come into the city with these smaller versions, 900 to 1,500 square foot, and our residents were like, that's going to devalue some of these bigger houses when we start going to these smaller square footage units. So I'm not terribly happy with a 1,500 square foot bungalow. And how many would there be of this 1,500?
It's 202 of those types of units. They'll have multiple models that they'll have available on there, and so it depends on what the buyers are looking for at that time.
Okay, so 202 houses are basically going to have hardly any type of real estate tax, which is going to put the burden on everyone else in the city. The street width, how wide is the streets?
The way it's been designed, we've worked with staff, is that the width of the travel lanes would be at a minimum 20 feet, which matches the city's street standard for this designation in the form-based code.
Okay.
If there's parking, because this has been something that's come up kind of throughout multiple meetings, if there's parking on the road, there'll be a dedicated on-street parking stall, and it won't impede upon the travel lanes.
Mr. Maslow, what is our standard street widths now?
We have a menu of thoroughfare types, but as the applicant indicated, the typical street cross-section is looking at a 60-foot right-of-way, two 10-foot travel lanes, and then the on-street parking is separated by landscape buffers, and that's an additional 8 feet on each side. So you're looking at 36 feet of pavement roughly, but again, that's not all travel lane.
Street width, in my opinion, is too narrow, and if it's going to stay that way, then it needs one side of the street parking, much like we've been doing in other areas of the city. There is no alley loaded.
There is alley loaded on the smaller lots here.
And are those alley loading just for cars, no parking?
Correct. No parking is allowed on or permitted on alleys.
Right.
Sir, if I can clarify that statement, there is no parking that will be allowed on the alley itself. Within areas, and you can see them on the plans, and they are accessed through the alley, there are dedicated parking areas where you would be able to park that is accessed via the alley.
Okay. What was the P&Z's? I know it was a unanimous vote against. What was their biggest concern?
I'd say concerns deviating from the original intent of this property, significant reduction in the commercial and civic uses, listening to resident feedback, and then also concerns about the economic impact that came up. At one point before the vote, one of the P&Z members asked for staff to conduct an economic impact analysis of the amendment.
So when we talk about a walkable environment, this original concept was going to have 50,000 square foot and then even some office space. That is an important component on the estates at Cherry Lake from where it was envisioned 20 years ago. And now we're basically taking that away with no more than 10,000 square foot of commercial.
Hold up the screen just to keep us on the same page. So it's 50,000 square feet of office maximum, and that's an additional 175,000 square feet of commercial.
So that's quite a bit of a difference in commercial. Right now, there is an existing PUD,
Correct.
and there is nothing that we have to do to change that. They can build under the existing PUD. The change to a different land use is strictly at the whim of the council.
At the will of the city council.
Okay, all right. That's all that I have.
Councilwoman Fike?
Thank you. Mike asked several of my questions. I didn't catch your name, sir, when you stood up. But Mike asked you size of the buildings, and you stated 1,500 to 3,000 square feet, probably two-story. So with the probably, are they or are they not one story or two? Or is that, again, when you talked about the house model, they can choose if they want the upper story?
Correct. It would be, there'll be a model center up, and there'll be multiple models to choose from that meet the city's code.
And you represent the entire project, the residential side or the commercial side?
I am the engineering consultant on the job that is representing this project.
Okay, thank you.
I understand that the bungalows, I think I heard you say were 1,500 to 3,000 square feet. Is that correct? So,
Might as well stay up here. Yes.
yes, good idea. I thought I understood you to say that the bungalows were 1,500 to 3,000 square feet. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so is there any more units that are more than the 3,000 square feet?
Right now, the only thing that we're showing on here is and we can call it a bungalow, we can call it a single-family unit. There's 202 single-family in the yellow size at 35 feet wide, and then you have the 71 townhomes.
So my question is, will it go higher? Is there a possibility that it could be more than 3,000 square feet?
As Carolyn had mentioned, the buildings haven't been fully designed yet. They're kind of working through it. The lot size is only going to dictate so much that you can build on it, so that's going to be about the maximum you can get. And Tim, I can't remember, but there's a height restriction from a stories perspective, right? Did we go through that?
3-story, 40 feet is the cap for our village core zoning district.
Okay, so for real, if you don't have that information, then how could we, in good conscience, vote on it, number one? And number two, will any of these units be set aside for affordable housing?
No, not that I'm aware of at this time. Generally, providing a mixture of housing provides a bit of affordability to the market. They having the ability, I look at this and I've kind of haven't even had conversations with the Orlando YIMBY group about this, which is the Yes in My Backyard, that somebody looking at a townhome could very well be somebody as a first-time home buyer. That's all they can afford, right? But it brings them into this neighborhood that has been established and gives them an opportunity for an affordable house that may be less affordable as a larger estate unit. It could be someone's grandparents that are moving in and being close to family because that's where they got somebody to take care of them. So is it going to be a strict affordable? No, it's not going to meet the standards that is an affordable housing unit per state and federal law. But what it will do is it will provide a mixture of housing that will increase the vibrancy of the neighborhood by providing opportunity for people that don't have it.
I get it with the mixed-use housing, but because housing is so expensive and hard to come by, when I ask you about the affordable housing, I was going with the federal with the federal law and wanted to know if any had been set aside for affordable housing. Thank you.
Ask a few more questions now, Barbara. Thank you. So looking at this conceptual land use, I like this slide. Looking at the existing entitlements, 229 single-family units, 100 multifamily units. What's the approximate size of that single-family unit compared to what you're talking about with the bungalow under the proposed? You're talking 1,500 to 3,000 square feet. What would we be looking at in house size under the existing entitlement?
I do not know if that was specifically enumerated in that existing PUD document. Do you know that?
Yeah, so this city center area, the housing is only allowed on top of additional units, right? The commercial in the bottom and the residential at the top. So the only units that would have been allowed to be developed under the zoning are apartments over commercial and like a live-work unit type development. Nothing else would have been allowed. If you deny this project, that will not allow for large lot development here. What we are proposing is to meet the city's current village code requirements, because that is what staff asked for us to do as what they wanted to see in this project.
So having looked, you had done you showed a photo, kind of like a city center. I know the type of development there. So you're saying all of those single-family units would be apartments? These aren't townhouses that might be 2 stories on top of the retail?
The number of single-family and multifamily units that are remaining is a characterization of the overall project and what density is left. What could actually go there today on this piece of property, what is approved, is solely live-work units and commercial and residential above it.
Right,
That's it.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand that all the, the first floor is all residential.
Yes.
I lived in a community like that up north. But help me again, we're talking about single-family units and multifamily units. So are we talking townhouses? Are you saying apartments that are going to be rental units, or are they condos?
So anything that qualifies under your code as multifamily and anything that qualifies under your code as single family. So a townhome, a apartment, a condo, I believe are all multifamily. And the single family detached would be the only thing that would be allowed.
Okay. Tim, can I ask you a question real quick? Looking at the existing entitlements, I'm looking at the single and the multi there, and had seen the previous picture on a slide before. Was that a consideration there would be rental apartments there?
It could be rental or for own condos or for own or rent townhomes.
Okay.
So the flexibility in terms of renter versus owner was there in the existing PUD and is still there. But the main issue at this point is the fact that it has to be on top of a non-residential use to be built.
I do understand
in
that.
this property.
Yeah, I do understand that. Okay. I think I'm good right now. I might come back in a second if there aren't any other questions.
Thank you. Any public comment?
Yes. Ryan Reuter.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, Council. It's good to see everyone. I come here on behalf of the Estates
You
of Cherry Lake.
would you give your name and
Oh,
address?
yes. Sorry, my name is Ryan Reuter. I live at 942 Aspen View Circle in Groveland, Florida, 34736. It's Crest Ridge at the Estates of Cherry Lake and this property here. There's 8 neighborhoods under the Estates of Cherry Lake, and they're not even all finished yet. When we're talking about trip generation, a lot of those trips would stay inside. In fact, the commercial units are there. Takeout restaurants, daycares, even medical, with Trilogy being there, Rainwood, even Cherry Valley Trail. There's neighborhoods that would benefit outside of the Estates at Cherry Lake from this commercial development. And even at the planning and zoning meeting, of course, the tax implications, less revenue for the city approving this plan. We're not cutting down on too many of these single-family or multifamily units, but we're cutting out that commercial space that would really benefit the vast majority of the residents in that area. So I urge you all to please deny this amendment. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That's it?
Is it on, it's on this subject? Okay, you can speak.
Amanda Trawick, 117 Blackstone Creek Road. Good evening, council. You know, as I look at this plan, I think, gee, that looks nice. It's all tied up in a pretty package with a beautiful bow, but with a lot of frayed ends. And I can probably guarantee you that none of these people that are presenting tonight live in that area. We are getting overwhelmed in our particular area. We have, I live in Southern Ridge. We have Hidden Ridge that's being developed. Down the road, we have Rainwood that's being developed. Now you want to compound on top of that corner section right next to the school. We have our fire department that is very small, and that's a hard-working fire department, I can tell you. I see them go out very frequently, and the ambulance service as well. Now, we got these little two-lane roads, and you can take all the traffic studies that you want, but now that we have the school, we have the traffic backed up going down the hill, traffic going up the hill because of the school. I'm not complaining about the school. I'm thrilled to have the school there because we need it. The homeowners need it. But our crime rate has increased. It will continue to increase if you allow this to happen. You're going to have people stacked on top of one another out there, and they're going to be fighting to get out on the road and having more accidents. I've seen the helicopter land right there at the intersection of Cherry Valley Trail and Wilson Lake Parkway because of an accident. At the bottom of the hill, we've had an accident with a dump truck turning over. We have people passing on the road on Cherry Lake Road that is dangerous, and it's marked no passing. So now how are we going to get this traffic moving with all these homeowners? The average homeowner probably does not have just one vehicle. You've got the wife, the husband, if they have kids, the kids come along, get of age, you know, or if they have a grandparent. Some families have 5 and 6 vehicles at one home, and they park on the side of the street, but we don't have one-side parking. You're blocking the traffic way. I've seen where our fire truck cannot get through my subdivision to get to an emergency call when we had a house on fire across the street from me. Now, what do you think is going to happen? The more people you put in this area, the more things are going to happen and compound. And I think our police department and our fire department are great. I think there's a lot of overworked individuals there. We would have to have a larger, expand our fire department out there. Where are they going to go? Where are you going to get all this traffic moving? We still don't have the light out on Wilson Lake and 27 to get out because we have that situation there. You have O'Brien Road. You've got all this construction going on around us. What happens to our wildlife? Where do they go? You know, I mean, I'm thrilled to have the park. I fought for the park, fought for the school because there was a need. But do we really need these services out there? I just ask that you think twice and that you vote this down. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Ramsey, I think for me, it's important to get a reading concerning the crime, the increased crime, before I can make an educated vote. Can you address that?
I would not have that data. We can certainly mine that data, particularly zone.
Okay, thank you. So did we have a motion on it? Well, we had a motion, so it's time.
There's no motion on the table.
Okay, So can I get a motion and a second?
I motion to accept consideration of approval ordinance 2025-20 Cherry Lake Village PUD amendment, first reading.
Can I get a second?
Okay,
So,
I guess we're,
Madam Attorney.
So the first motion failed for a lack of a second, so you can ask for another motion.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to reject.
I'll second.
Second comments? Okay.
okay. Who's first?
So, again, no office space, hardly any commercial, means no stratification of the tax base. Again, we're putting all of our onus on residents. This goes completely against the original vision, which, again, had the office and the commercial, a walkability type of community. And I don't like the idea of a bungalow at 1,500 square foot. The street width, I probably could deal with, providing there was one side of the street parking, but I don't like a lot about this project. And specifically, I think I agree with the P&Z committee whose concerns were the commercial and the office not being there anymore. Yeah.
Is that it? For you?
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Councilwoman Fike?
Well, Mike pretty much said what I was going to say. I too, when I had first spoken regarding this, I was a little concerned about the lack of commercial. I mean, 1 acre of commercial, to me, it's like a postage stamp amongst all the houses. I like the idea of the existing plan. I know it's got a few more houses in there, but it gives us some office and commercial, which we don't have. In District 4, we're very lacking with any retail space other than the Lake Ridge Shopping Center up 27. So I'm not at all, so not in favor of it.
Okay.
I've got,
Oh, I'm sorry.
what about me?
Angel. I'm sorry.
I just want to go back to, we've got residents pointing out traffic concerns and crime concerns, and the proposed the proposal reduces that over what we're going to be ending up with, which is a lot of probably units for rent, multifamily units. That brings a lot more crime and a lot more traffic when you have an increased number of them, as well as the commercial space. You're going to get a lot more traffic. So the concerns actually, in my opinion, double with the original plan that sounds like we're going to be stuck with, but proceed.
And one of my concerns is the lack of commercial development. 10,000 square feet doesn't seem like a lot. And it's all about the economic development here in the city of Natural Charm. And so to go from, I think, 175,000 square feet down to 10,000 square feet, I don't see how that helps the city with the economic development, and that's my comment on it. Can we call
Yes. Councilmember Rex?
public comment on it? We did have public.
We already did public comment.
This is a second, different motion.
We didn't make a motion before we took public comment at all.
Really?
Really?
Shame on us.
Yeah.
Councilmember Radzik, how do you vote?
My vote is no to the development.
Councilmember Fike?
No as well.
Councilmember Carroll?
vote yes to the development, so no to the rejection motion.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
No.
No to the motion or no to the development? Could you clarify your,
To the development.
okay, thank you.
Failed.
Comment.
Okay. Now, we will receive public comment. If you want to make a comment, please put your name, your address, and that on the card, and so that if we have to get back to you, we will know where to contact you and follow up.
Paula Hall? Robin Maynard Harris?
Good evening, Vice Mayor and Council. I'm Robin Maynard Harris. My address is protected. I stand before you tonight not as the founder of Libby's Legacy or Waterwell Farms, but as a concerned member of this community. As a retired crime scene investigator, I prefer to deal with facts. I have waited weeks, debated whether to speak out, and watch this process unfold. I can no longer stay silent about the harm that has been caused. The facts are these. When the story first broke about Ms. Fike's horrendous social media post, her responses shifted from "I was hacked" to "that was a long time ago" to freedom of speech. The response should have been a simple "I'm sorry, and here are the steps I'm taking to make this right." On June 28th, Ms. Fike sent me a copy-paste text she sent to others. It was filled with information about old Twitter accounts deactivated, followed by half apology, and then, "But I will not be distracted by bad actors." She had another chance to show contrition and instead chose arrogance. When the story broke, Ms. Fike called me to explain her Pulse post. I told her plainly there is no context where sarcasm and politics belong in the middle of a mass tragedy. As I spoke, she cut me off, saying, "Oh, I have to take this call," and hung up. I replied in a text, respectfully but firmly, explaining that accountability means showing your values have changed and aligning your actions with those values. Her response? To unfriend me on Facebook. That's not accountability, that's avoidance. I would have sat down. And these were not just old tweets. I don't have Twitter. What I saw was on Facebook, abhorrent and divisive posts, racist and anti-LGBTQ, stretching from 2016 through August 2024, just 2 months before she was appointed. I took screenshots. I never shared them publicly, but I know what I saw. I personally saw a post that said, "Why'd they do it again? Because we didn't hang them the first time." I saw a post that compared a black person to a monkey. I saw a post about the Pulse nightclub. That's not rumor, that's fact. And the aftermath and the pain it caused in black and brown communities and LGBT communities is real. I want to be clear. I did not ask for a pride proclamation. Lake County Pride did. I didn't even know about it until Ms. Fike called me, asked me to bring people, invite people, reassure them, and to vouch for her, and I did that. And then I watched her wear a Be Kind shirt for photo ops that night, knowing she had posted things that were anything but kind. That's not leadership, that's using people politically. And accountability matters because free speech does not mean freedom from consequences. A doctor who politicized the recent deadly floods lost her job. A firefighter who made hateful comments at a No Kings protest was terminated. Free speech is free, but it doesn't override the oaths you take or the ethics you should uphold in your position. Ms. Fike herself once posted, quote, "Time to resign," about another political leader for racist rhetoric. Yet here she stands, refusing to follow the very standards she demanded. That hypocrisy is painful to watch, but more painful is the hurt inflicted on our neighbors and this community. My family's been in Groveland since 1949, the same year as the Groveland Four, when this town was known as a sundown town. We've worked hard for decades to build a more inclusive community, and now that progress has been stained. I want to close with the most painful words of all. They're not mine, but those of a mother. Myra lost her daughter, Amanda Alvelar, one of the 49 murdered at Pulse, and she asked me to share this. On the morning of June 12, 2016, before we even knew if our children were alive or dead, you chose to post this, quote, "Duh, why would the shooter target a gay club?" My answer, easier than marching them up steps to push off the roof. Some sarcasm, some truth, unquote. While we waited in agony, you chose sarcasm and politics over compassion. Amanda was full of love and light. She deserved better. All 49 did. Your words were cruel. Leaving them up for 9 years was even more cruel. Council, this is not about politics. This council is supposed to be bipartisan. We have got to stop the division. Sitting down, not avoiding. Listen, I'm a gun-toting lesbian who loves Jesus and science. I run a charity and I'm fiscally conservative. You're not going to put me in a box. It doesn't exist. We all have common ground somewhere. All of us. What we need from our leaders is not denial. It's not litigation. It's not technical victories in court. We need humility, contrition, and real change in Groveland. We're moving forward. Words matter. And in Groveland in 2025, we cannot afford to go backwards. I'll leave you with what my granddaddy always taught me. Love requires action. Truth requires proof. And sorry requires change. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Farmer Banks Helfrich, Clay Road District, South Lake County. Farm tip of the day, peanuts. Did you know that peanuts are legumes? They are related to the bean family. They grow underground, and they also grow in Florida during the summertime. Vice Mayor, Council, distinguished guests, honesty, integrity, and character. 3 intangibles we look for in our representation. Honesty. Honesty is telling it the way it is. Refraining from hyperbole, refraining from exaggeration or extra exaggeration. Integrity. Integrity is having words match actions and actions matching the words. Character is that je ne sais quoi quality that we have inside of us, filled with conviction of who we are as a person. We are in the end of a election cycle, off year. In fact, tomorrow we will begin our elections. And we look for these 3 qualities in our representation. So when we go to the ballot box to vote, remember, honesty, integrity, and character. I am Farmer Banks Helfrich. May you all be blessed. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. That's all. Okay. Public comment is now closed, and we will proceed with council report, city manager report, and the council report. So I will start with Councilwoman Fike.
So another busy time in the city. On the 5th, I met with the Heartland League of Cities legislative team. They're preparing a survey for members within that committee to rank issues they feel need most attention. The team then can drill them down and work with the Florida League of Cities jointly with efforts in Tallahassee for lobbying and legislation and things of that intent. On the 16th, I think all of us attended the groundbreaking for the new fire station. That evening was the Integrity, it was at the Integrity Academy, their splash, their fun evening. Sapphire Powers, who is up here in the picture, was Miss Firecracker. On the back of her sash, you don't see it, but she has a bunch of pins that she collects whenever she attends an event. So we gave her a Groveland pin on the back of that last night. On the 7th, we did the Cherry Lake preparatory backpack drop-off and Gray Middle drop-off, I think the same day. We've been running around dropping backpacks everywhere. On the 18th, we did a tour of Keys to Learning, which is a lovely school in District 4. It's a school that works with students that have special needs in a variety of areas, and their mission is to unlock success for all students of all abilities through revolutionary student-centered learning. I took that off their webpage. I didn't make that up. Dr. Neiman and her mission struggle financially, and she was very verbal about that with us, so any efforts from the community are greatly appreciated. Then we had the League of City luncheon. Guest speaker was Representative Daniel Webster. He spoke about the big, beautiful bill and spent a lot of time talking about the Coast Guard. He's very supportive of the Coast Guard efforts. We did on the 9th Ann's Angels Adaptive Water Ski. I want to give credit to John Lipscomb again, no picture up here, for another fun, successful day at Lake David. They love coming to our lake. They love using it. I love seeing the people be able to participate and use it. On the 11th, I was invited by Hope Preparatory Academy to come in for their first day of school. It was a lot of fun, visited each classroom, chatted with the students and teachers, and was really excited to hear that 2 of their seniors have already applied to college, to the college of their choice. That's kind of exciting to have that done this early in the year. And then this week, the 4 of us were at the Florida League of City Conference in Orlando. A lot of jam-packed days. There was a lot of talk about the proposed tax change or property tax change that DeSantis is talking about. They can prepare a package for each city if you ask for it. I know I did. I'm sure everybody else here probably did. I did receive an email today that they were working on it and would have that done specifically for Groveland in a few weeks. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Razzak.
Can I go last, please? Well, before you. Thank you.
I attended many of the same events that I'm sure you're going to hear about a couple of times, but I want to kind of backtrack to the end of last week's, or not last week's meeting, the meeting 2 weeks ago. I try to keep emotion out of things, and last week that slipped, so I wanted to apologize for that. I am human, things happen, but I wanted to take ownership of that. I'll stand by what I said, but it was not the appropriate forum. So I wanted to apologize and try to stay focused on what matters, and that's our citizens. That's it. Yep.
So actually, I have 2 things. The first is, Mr. Hine. Last meeting, we had a discussion about transferring dispatch to the county. I thought I heard that the soonest that the county could do this was mid to late summer. Was there any room for compromise, or did it even come up?
Yeah, Madam Vice Mayor, members of the council, you are referencing a staff report that was given by Chief Ramsey, I believe, in advance of the workshop discussing the potential to transfer dispatch. There's been communication at several different levels throughout the organization, from county manager to city manager, finance to finance, and Chief Ramsey with the sheriff. So, and there are different dates and different expectations, and I can certainly look more into your direct question about how negotiable any transfer date would be. It doesn't change the economics on a monthly or an annual basis long term.
Okay, fair enough. Madam Mayor, I'm going to do the rest from the podium. My reference in what I'm about to read is to the council as a whole, no one specific. And in many instances, it's all of my opinion. 19 years ago, I stood up before this council at this very podium, and I stated my concerns about issues with Lexington Village's PUD. Little did I know that it would end up with me seeking an elected office. As some of you know, I've served 2 years as mayor and the last 10 as a representative for District 2. I'm proud to have been part of what would become known as a city with natural charm. Serving on city council has been an honor, and I'm thankful for those that have trusted me to make decisions that would affect all residents, regardless of ethnic background, the color of their skin, their faith, or their political affiliation. When I first arrived in Groveland, it was not an accident. I felt like I was living in the country, and it made the daily commute to Orlando tolerable. I have seen or been part of several projects, including Lake David Park, 2 public safety complexes, and helped break ground for a third. I watched Kroger, Amazon, the building that Duke Energy calls home, the park at Wilson Lake, the Anointed Community Services, and many other businesses and recreational areas that call Groveland home. With that said, it saddens me to say that I can no longer be part of a council or even any candidates to office that expresses a desire to sell a ladder truck, which compromises our public safety. I can no longer be part of a council who criticizes others but lawyers up when requested to turn over text messages and emails from their devices. I cannot be part of a council or mayor that, in my opinion, have no idea what their positions entail. I've been bullied. I've been insulted. I've been intimidated before and after last November's election. I refuse to let it happen again. The icing on the cake came during the conference when other elected officials wanted to know what's going on with Groveland. They said Groveland had reinvented itself, and now we are going backwards. I will not be part of that regression. As many of you know, my wife has had some serious health issues and is currently preparing for major back surgery later on this month or early September. My focus will be on her, especially since she's given up her time with me for the last 19 years so that I could serve our city. Serving on city council was fun, exciting, and challenging, but now it has become a chore, due in part to the mayor who thinks that he's running the city, although he's been told that he's ceremonial and one of five members. I can make that assertion after reviewing some 800 text messages that have been sent and received over a 30-day period during Mr. Hines' vacation, and what, in my opinion, violated our city charter, especially Section 3.05, Part B. I'm quite sure that should I request a special meeting to review those emails, I would not get a consensus from the council. So, I will be sending my resignation to the governor and copying the city manager and city attorney with my intentions in stepping down immediately following possibly the October 6th council meeting or earlier. Why now? My wife's unexpected health issues delayed her back surgery, and I will have to be her entire support system with very little time for anything else. I would not be as engaged as I would like to or have been. And for the record, my letter of resignation will state much of what I've had here was said this evening. To those who have supported me, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate our staff for all that you have done. My biggest accomplishment was to help bring Mr. Hine to the city. Thank you, Mr. Hine, for your leadership and where we've been and where we are now. We have an excellent public safety team, great department heads, and a city attorney who has done her best to keep us out of trouble. And I wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you, Councilmember. Excuse me, to follow the rules of decorum, if you would like to speak, please put your name and on a card and come up and we'll recognize you. Thank you, Mike, for your words. My report. Are there any more, Jenny? Okay. My report is pretty similar to everyone else's. So this past week, I had the privilege of going to the Florida League of Cities. Many of the workshops related to things of today, AI, Doge, and leadership. And it was a very interesting conference for networking and as well as increasing my knowledge about the system. I attended book backpacks events, as well as the event for service-disabled veterans for the adaptive water that was held down at the at Lake David. 2 weeks ago, I went to Edge United Church. The council had received an invitation from Edge United Church. And if you all have not been there, I would urge you to go. They have I'm in a safe place. This lady started this nonprofit because her daughter's boyfriend ran over her, but the daughter survived. So she started I'm in a Safe Place, resources for battered men and women to find a place of solace. There is a daycare there. There is a person running space called Chopsticks that teaches drum lessons. They have a center for autism. So if you all have not been to that church to see the kind of things that they're doing, I urge you to go. They're also looking for, the recyclable bags that you get from the grocery store. They take those and they make beds for the homeless. Get involved. Take your bags, get involved. Be a part of this, because you'll make a difference in someone's life. And pretty much with that being said, I am now going to ask for the city manager report.
No report, Madam Vice Mayor.
And the attorney.
No report, thank you.
Okay. There being no further business, we will now adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for your attention.